Hi, everyone. Welcome to Mini Scroll, the daily internet culture podcast bringing you the biggest stories from social media, the creator economy, and the digital space every Monday through Thursday. I'm your host, Lauren Meisner, the founder of the youth digital media brand Centennial World. So I'm super excited to bring you guys the stories for today. But before that, I wanted to let you guys know that I had dinner last night with Jordy, and it was so good. We reconnected, and it was just exactly what we needed. So I'm really excited because I think she's going to come on the pod in a couple weeks. Like, we still need some time to figure out exactly what the episode would be like, and she needs to kind of settle into her new normal for a little bit because she has some exciting news and developments going on. So we will plan for that in the next couple of weeks. It will be like a deep dive, a Friday episode, but it'll probably be quite like conversational. If she does come on the pod, maybe I'll actually do like a Q&A. And you guys can submit. So follow me on Instagram. Way more of you guys listen to the podcast than follow me on Instagram. So please follow me on Instagram. It's at Lauren Meisner _, okay? So that's where I'll probably put the Q&A. Anyways, let's just get right into the stories. So the first story that I have for you guys is that Ariana Grande has finally addressed her Nickelodeon days. So following Penn Badgley's appearance in Ariana's music video, For the Boy Is Mine, Ariana joined him on his podcast, Pod Crushed, where they discussed a variety of topics, including Broadway and grandparents. But one part of the podcast is going viral, and that is where Ariana reflects on her time at Nickelodeon. So Ariana worked on two of Dan Schneider's shows, Victorious and Sam and Cat, where she played the character Cat Valentine. With increasing allegations about the on-set environment, highlighted by the release of the Quiet on Set docuseries earlier this year, and of course, Jeanette McCurdy's book, I'm Glad My Mom Died, fans have been waiting for Ariana's response to this whole situation. Social media users were especially concerned about Ariana as sexualized videos of her acting on the show have started to reemerge, especially videos involving what seems like a foot fetish. In the interview, Ariana begins by noting how excited she was to get cast on Victorious and how grateful she is that she created something special for so many young kids. However, she continues by saying that she feels as if the cast has started, quote, reprocessing the whole situation now. The hosts then ask Ariana about child acting in general, where she says, quote, the environment needs to be made safer if kids are going to be acting. Ariana also notes how important it would be for these young stars to have a support system, whether that be through therapy, family members, or both. Quote, the things that the survivors have come forward about, there's not a word for how devastating that is to hear. I think the environment just needs to be made a lot safer all around. Like I said, I'm still in real time reprocessing my relationship to it, she said. In a similar vein, Ariana touched on the power dynamic between the producers and the actors, saying that these young stars would feel validated when they got a laugh out of the producers and the directors. Because of this, Ariana said she felt for a long time like the innuendos on the show were its, quote, cool differentiation. But looking back now, she says, quote, I don't know, I think it all just happened so quickly. And now looking back on some of the clips, I'm like, damn, like really? I don't know if we will ever get more from Ariana about this because she is such a big star. She does have to be really careful about how she talks about her experiences and just, her child stardom in general. I think she has a lot to lose if she is really open about things, and maybe she just hasn't, taken the time to really unpack all of it. I'm glad she's open to talking about it. You never know with these huge celebrities, like what they will tell their publicists they're like not willing to talk about. So I like that she was willing to address it. I think it's necessary, especially because she is showing some solidarity for her former castmates. But I think this is probably like all we're going to get from her about this. All right, another podcast related story that I have for you guys is Billie Eilish on the BBC Sounds Miss Me podcast talking about being ghosted. This is just relatable. So speaking with hosts Lily Allen and Makita Oliver, Billie opens up about how it feels to be ghosted. In the interview, she discusses how she experienced a crazy ghosting last December where someone she had known for years completely cut contact with her. Quote, it was somebody that I'd also known for years and had a plan day of on the phone, making a plan. This is my address. Be there at 3. Never heard from him again, Billie said. She even joked about how the abrupt ghosting left her wondering if the man had died, saying, "Did you die? Did you literally die?" While Billie didn't name drop the man's name, she did mention that she still hasn't heard from him. She also said that soon after she noticed that he was dating someone. Quote, "I was like, what a fucking little pathetic man. What a tiny little man. It was literally unbelievable. To this day, never texted me again." So this is a crazy story. Like, imagine ghosting Billie Eilish. I'm sure this person is also famous, but what the actual fuck? Like, ghosting an actual A-list talent like that is so unreal. I need to know who that person was. But yes, just so relatable. I'm loving it. I really liked this interview. You know what? I think BBC Sounds, like, I think this podcast, Miss Me, is doing really well. Like, a lot of podcasts created by big publications, like legacy publications, they just don't hit. But even the video editing, it was all like very on trend. It was very cool. I really liked watching it. I'd never listened to a BBC Sounds podcast before. I'm probably like saying the most obvious thing. Like, they're probably winning awards and everybody probably knows that they're a really cool podcast. But I only just discovered it from this interview, so I liked it. Anyways, the last story that I have for you guys is very online. We did 2 kind of mainstream stories, and now we have this one. This story is about the trad wife TikToker who was fired from her job for saying a racial slur, and how she is possibly now moving into the right-wing media space. So TikToker Lilly Gaddis is facing widespread backlash after posting a video where she used a racial slur. In a video where she is discussing relationships while preparing food, Lilly referenced marriage and used the N-word when talking about who, quote, everyone I know is currently married to. Lilly is a white woman. Okay, and this has sparked significant controversy. Although the video was initially posted to TikTok, it quickly spread to X, where users began circulating it and expressing their shock. The post by X user @RisyDo has since accumulated 74.5 million views. Many commented on how crazy it was that not only did she use this word, but also how casually she used it. Quote, "Black outrage is guaranteed money. They're going to run her views up and then she's going to rebrand to a lifestyle influencer and apologize for her past behavior." Quote, "This is funny until you realize that white people no longer fear reprimand for being openly racist," wrote another. Since then, Lilly's TikTok account has been deleted. Whether it was taken down from the platform or she chose to delete the account remains unclear. However, before she left the platform, she showed no remorse for her actions, saying that she, quote, couldn't find a care for how Black people reacted to the video. She also posted on X, writing, quote, "Thanks, Black community, for helping to launch my new career in conservative media. You all played your role well, like the puppets you are." Oh my God, this woman is vile. Like, this is one of the most openly racist things I think we've seen online in a long time. This has left many users questioning if this was all just a ploy for her to pivot to media. Quote, "The one thing she is correct about is conservative media are going to love her. A Christian white woman fired for using a racial slur playing the victim," one user wrote on Reddit. Quote, "She is acknowledging conservative media thrives on racism. She's also acknowledging her priorities. Fame, not journalism or serving her audience or some such," wrote another. So because of this, Lilly was soon doxxed, leading to her place of work choosing to fire her basically for this behavior. She was previously working at Rofe of the Carolinas, which is a home healthcare company for the elderly and the disabled. The company issued a statement announcing her departure on X. The statement characterized Lilly as a newly hired employee before saying that her remarks, quote, "do not align with the values and beliefs of our company." Quote, "As soon as we were made aware of the situation, we took immediate action to pull the employee from her assignment, which is not directly with any client of ours, and the employee in question is no longer with our company." The statement continues, "We are owned and operated by African-American, female, and immigrant-owned businesses and handled this situation as quickly as we could." Okay, so I actually wanted to talk about this story. Obviously, I recapped it and I am bringing light to this story. And I don't know actually how I feel about that, because I wanted to reference something that my good friend Crystal, who also is the owner of ZFeed, which is another amazing independent media company here in Australia, she talked about on her TikTok recently, which is like, please be mindful of who you platform when you're talking about rage bait and who you're stitching and duetting. And I think this is one of those instances, and I fully recognize that I am part of the problem here by talking about this, but I think this is like a good opportunity to talk about it because this absolutely blew up. And yes, she absolutely deserved to be fired from her job and the consequences that have come with that. But at the same time, I think we have to consider when we, like myself included, when we report on these stories, when we cover them on TikTok, when we're amplifying them in any way with a stitch, a duet, a comment, even a favorite, like anything that you're doing, that is giving our attention to that person. And that is therefore amplifying that message. And that is like, not just indirectly, but directly hurting a lot of people. Like, I can only imagine how hurtful and painful this whole situation would be to be a Black person watching this play out. This girl, Lilly, have no remorse, just say the most vile things. And even if the vast majority of people are like, what the fuck? And, are speaking out against her, that is still inflicting so much pain on a group of people. For what? For this to be amplified and her to get more attention. And like she said, now she can maybe parlay into media. She's kind of getting what she wanted. It was very obviously rage bait. So I think that this is like a good opportunity for us to reflect on that. And I think when it comes to these instances, it mostly is, the people who are trying to be allies that are probably doing the most harm. And I think that's really important for all of us to consider. I do try and cover topics like this on my podcast, and I know some of you guys appreciate it, but occasionally I do get feedback that says, like you talking about this when you're not part of that group can be more harmful, or like, please be more careful about this. So I just want to acknowledge that I am covering this story. It is, I think, an important story to cover for that context. In that context of like, we need to really think about who we give our attention to. And yes, it is vile and disgusting. And I am glad that it got amplified because of the consequences. But on the other hand, I'm not glad that it got amplified because I imagine that there's probably about 100 million people legitimately that have seen that video. And many of them would have been very triggered and hurt by that. And it's just a disgusting situation. I will be more mindful in the future about what I cover when it comes to these like viral TikTok rage baity moments. And I'm kind of using this one as an example or like for context for that. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for listening to Mini Scroll. I hope you liked this episode. I hope you like this podcast. Please remember to rate, review, and subscribe. I love you guys so much. Tomorrow there will be a deep dive, and then I will talk to you on Monday. Okay, bye.